The world-famous rose petal pie from Birdie G's restaurant in Santa Monica, California is basically a modern rendition of the crown jewel Jell-O cake from the 1950s combined with a strawberry pretzel salad. But instead of taking something classic and just rehashing it, thereby cheapening it in the process, Hollywood, I'm looking at you, this pie brings something unique from our past, the stained glass Jell-O cake, from a bygone and frankly bizarre culinary era into the modern world in a truly original and innovative way. With a mildly tangy and slightly floral raspberry rose mousse, the hibiscus rose petal and strawberry Jell-Os, and a salty and savory pretzel crust, this, in my opinion, is how you take inspiration from the past and update it to modern sensibilities without becoming rote or vapid. So, without further ado, let me show you how to make my version of Birdie G's world-famous rose petal pie. To make the candied rose petals, put 1/2 cup or 100 grams of granulated sugar in a food processor and blend on high for 30 to 60 seconds. Then set the sugar aside in a medium bowl. Whisk the whites from 1 to 2 eggs until frothy in a medium bowl and set aside. Now trim your rose petals, removing any tough or discolored spots. I like to cut the petals down the middle vertically and snip off the yellow part at the base of the petal. Now dip the petals in the egg whites, shaking off any excess, and cover the petals in the superfine sugar, pressing down to make sure the petals are completely coated in the sugar. Now lay the petals down on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper and let dry for at least 8 hours. For the raspberry rose puree, defrost 12 to 16 ounces of frozen raspberries and transfer to a food processor. Blend the defrosted berries on high until no large chunks remain. Strain the berries through a fine mesh strainer to remove all skin, seed, and flesh. Transfer 1 cup or 240 milliliters of the raspberry puree to a small bowl and reserve any remaining puree for another use. Then add 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon or 17 grams of sugar and 2 teaspoons or 10 grams of rose water to the raspberry puree. Stir until combined, and refrigerate the raspberry rose puree until ready to use. To make the hibiscus Jell-O, pour 1/2 cup or 120 milliliters room temperature water into a small bowl. Then add 1 package or 7 grams of powdered gelatin to the water, give a stir, and let the gelatin bloom for 5 minutes. After the gelatin has bloomed for 5 minutes, microwave 1/2 cup or 120 milliliters water on high for 40 seconds, and add the hot water to the gelatin mixture. Give a good stir and make sure all the gelatin has dissolved in the water, and add 2 tablespoons or 25 grams of sugar to the water, and stir until the sugar has dissolved completely. Then add 2 tablespoons or 35 grams of hibiscus syrup and stir until combined. Then transfer the liquid to a storage container and refrigerate for at least 4 hours or until the Jell-O has completely set. To make the rose Jell-O, pour 1/2 cup or 120 milliliters room temperature water into a small bowl. Then add 1 package or 7 grams of powdered gelatin to the water, give a stir, and let the gelatin bloom for 5 minutes. After the gelatin has bloomed for 5 minutes, microwave 1/2 cup or 120 milliliters water on high for 40 seconds. Add the hot water to the gelatin mixture, give a good stir, and make sure all the gelatin has dissolved in the water. Then add 2 tablespoons or 25 grams of sugar to the water and stir until the sugar has dissolved completely. Add 1½ teaspoons or 7½ grams of rose water and 1 drop of red food dye to the water and stir until everything is combined. Transfer the liquid to a storage container and refrigerate for at least 4 hours or until the Jell-O has completely set. For the strawberry Jell-O, I made some from scratch and tasted it side by side with the stuff out of the box, and I actually liked the box version better. So I just used the Jell-O brand strawberry flavor. Now, just like the other 2 Jell-Os we've made, you'll only want to use half of the recommended water. These Jell-Os are going into a mousse, and you'll want them to be slightly firmer than usual so they hold their shape. But just follow the directions on the box and use only half of the water. Refrigerate for at least 4 hours or until the Jell-O has completely set before using. For the pretzel crust, preheat an oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 175 degrees Celsius, and line a 9-inch springform pan with parchment paper. I've seen a lot of videos on how to line a springform pan properly, but it's easiest just to lay the piece of parchment on top of the bottom piece and clamp the side rims right on top of it. Then butter the sides and line them with another piece of parchment. This will make removing the cake much easier after we've let the mousse set. After you've lined your pan, put Put 6.5 ounces or 180 grams of hard pretzel in a food processor and blend on high for 20 to 30 seconds or until the pretzel is mostly powder with some very small chunks remaining. Then add 2.5 tablespoons or 35 grams of sugar and 1/2 teaspoon or 1.5 grams of kosher salt and pulse a few times until everything is thoroughly combined. Then add 1 egg white and 6 tablespoons or 85 grams of melted unsalted butter and pulse until the mixture has the consistency of wet sand. Add the pretzel mix to the springform pan and press down on it with something flat to make sure it's even all over and is tightly packed within the pan. Then bake the mixture for 10 minutes in the preheated oven. After the baking, place the crust on a rack and allow to cool completely before using. To make the whipped cream for the raspberry rose mousse, add 2 cups or 480 milliliters cold heavy whipping cream and 4 tablespoons or 50 grams of sugar to the bowl of a stand mixer and beat on high until stiff peaks form. You'll want to beat the cream a little thicker than usual because we'll be adding the jello after we make the mousse, so you'll want the cream to have some body to it. Then refrigerate the whipped cream until you're ready to make the mousse. For the raspberry rose mousse, pour 1/4 cup or 60 milliliters of room temperature water into a small bowl. Add 2 packages or 14 grams of powdered gelatin and stir until all the gelatin has hydrated. Allow the gelatin to bloom for 5 minutes. After the gelatin has bloomed, microwave 1/4 cup or 60 milliliters of water in the microwave on high for 40 seconds and stir the heated water into the gelatin, making sure all the gelatin has dissolved completely into the water. Now slowly add the refrigerated raspberry rose puree to the gelatin mixture to temper the warm gelatin. Because we're about to add this mixture to the whipped cream to make our mousse, you'll want to make sure this isn't warm. If the gelatin puree mixture is warm, let it come to room temperature before adding it to the whipped cream, or it could liquefy the whipped cream. After we've made our gelatin puree mixture, take each of the jellos out of the refrigerator and cut them both vertically and horizontally into irregular pieces. We're going for a sort of stained glass window look, so make some pieces bigger and some pieces smaller. Then put all of your jello pieces together in a bowl and set aside. Now slowly add the raspberry rose gelatin mixture to the whipped cream, bit by bit, making sure that each addition is completely incorporated before adding any more. Once again, make sure your gelatin puree mixture isn't warm when you do this, or it could liquefy the whipped cream. After you've added all of the puree, mix in your jello pieces and stir until everything is combined. Then add the raspberry rose mousse and jello mixture to your pretzel crust, lightly pressing down and evening out the top with an offset spatula. Refrigerate until the mousse is set, which is usually about 6 hours, or preferably overnight. After the mousse is set overnight, remove the pie from the refrigerator and unbuckle the side latch of the springform pan. Peel the parchment from the sides of the pie and tuck out the parchment from the bottom piece. If you're going to be serving the pie on a platter, use the bottom piece to lift up and place the pie on the dish. Then hold on to the parchment from one side and ease out the bottom piece of the springform pan. To serve, slice to order and crush some dehydrated or freeze-dried raspberries in your hand and sprinkle over the top of each slice. Leave some of the dried raspberries whole and also sprinkle around the plate. Then garnish with fresh berries. I'm using strawberries here, but blackberries or raspberries also work well. And then finally place a couple of your candied rose petals on or around the cake. And there you have it, my take on Birdie G's world-famous rose petal pie. I'd like to give a big shout out to Deanie Hitchcox, who came up with the original rose petal pie, and I'd also like to give a shout out to Jeremy Fox, who is the executive chef of all the Rustic Canyon restaurants, of which Birdie G's is a part. If you don't have Jeremy's cookbook on vegetables, you should totally buy it, because it will revolutionize the way that you both cook and think about vegetables. I have hundreds of cookbooks, and it's in the top 5 easily. In the video description, you'll find a detailed recipe and step-by-step guide on exactly how to make the rose petal pie. I'd love to hear in the comments if you decided to try it out. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.